Ladies and gentlemen, for too long, many of us have been told to always be agreeable, polite, and accommodating. We are encouraged to smile even when we don't want to say yes when we mean no, and to put the needs of others before our own. This pressure to constantly be the nice girl might sound harmless, but it comes at a high cost. Our confidence, our boundaries, and sometimes even our happiness. Confidence is often misunderstood. Many people confuse being kind with being agreeable at all costs. But the truth is, kindness is a conscious choice rooted in strength. It takes courage to treat others with compassion, even when the situation is difficult, and it requires self-awareness to extend empathy without losing yourself in the process. Genuine kindness is powerful because it comes from a place of authenticity, not from fear or obligation. When you choose to be kind, you are showing respect, not only for others, but also for the values you hold within yourself. On the other hand, people-pleasing is a very different behavior. While it may appear similar to kindness on the surface, it comes from a place of insecurity and the need for external validation. People-pleasing often leads individuals to sacrifice their true feelings, their time, and even their boundaries just to avoid conflict or gain approval. Instead of empowering you, it drains your energy and leaves you feeling resentful because your actions are not aligned with your genuine desires. This behavior isn't kindness. It's self-neglect disguised as generosity. When you practice kindness, you can say no without guilt and yes with sincerity. But when you fall into people-pleasing, your yes often feels heavy, forced, or insincere because it doesn't reflect your real intention. Over time, this pattern creates inner frustration, and you may start to feel invisible or taken for granted. The distinction between the two lies in whether your actions are guided by self-respect or fear of rejection. True kindness adds value to your life, while people-pleasing silently chips away at your sense of self. It's important to remember that kindness never asks you to abandon yourself. It doesn't mean overextending your energy, silencing your opinions, or tolerating disrespect. People-pleasing, however, thrives on self-abandonment, making you put others' comfort above your own well-being. The more you try to please everyone, the more you lose connection with your authentic voice. By understanding this difference, you can learn to embrace kindness as a strength while letting go of the toxic cycle of people-pleasing that weakens your spirit. Many people struggle with the word no because they have been conditioned to believe that refusing someone is rude, selfish, or unkind. As a result, they say yes even when their heart, energy, or time is already stretched thin. This habit often comes from a sense of guilt, the fear that rejecting someone will disappoint them, hurt their feelings, or cause conflict. But constantly agreeing out of guilt is not an act of generosity. It is a silent sacrifice of one's own needs. Every forced yes chips away at your personal freedom and makes you feel trapped in obligations you never truly wanted. When you give in to guilt-kin decisions, you betray your own boundaries. Boundaries are not walls to shut people out. They are guidelines that protect your well-being, your peace, and your sense of self-respect. By saying yes when you mean no, you cross your own lines, teaching others that your time and energy are endlessly available. This creates a cycle where people expect more from you and you end up feeling overwhelmed and unappreciated. Betraying your boundaries does not only affect you, it changes how others perceive you, often making them value you less because you've made it too easy to disregard your limits. A genuine yes holds weight and meaning, but a guilt-keened yes breeds resentment. Over time, this resentment grows because deep down you know you acted against your own will. Instead of feeling good about helping, you feel drained, frustrated, and even angry. Yet the anger is not directed at others alone, but at yourself for allowing the boundary to be crossed. This emotional burden accumulates until you feel your kindness feels like a curse rather than a strength. The truth is, people may not always like your refusal, but they will eventually respect it when it is firm and consistent. Choosing to honor your boundaries means choosing self-respect. It means understanding that guilt is not a valid reason to agree to something that doesn't serve you. True empowerment comes when you learn to pause, evaluate, and respond with honesty rather than obligation. By doing this, you reclaim control over your time and energy, while also sending a message to others that your yes is valuable because it is sincere. The freedom that comes from breaking the cycle of guilt-cunt decisions. My medications are empty. The feeling of continual depression and depression, the feeling that states the respect is one of the most valuable forms of recognition we can receive from others. But many people misunderstand where it truly comes from.
Stop sama laba-laba.
When you bend over backward to satisfy others, they may enjoy the benefits of your efforts, but they rarely hold you in high regard. What they see is someone who lacks firmness and can easily be swayed. True respect begins within, and without self-respect, it is nearly impossible to gain it from others. Self-respect means recognizing your own value and acting in alignment with it. It is not about arrogance or superiority. It is about honoring your boundaries, your time, and your worth. When you carry yourself with self-respect, you naturally communicate that you deserve to be treated with dignity. People notice when you stand firmly by your principles, when you do not tolerate disrespect, and when you speak your truth with confidence. These actions send a clear message that you value yourself, and as a result, others begin to value you more deeply. Respect earned this way is lasting. Unlike the fleeting approval gained through people-pleasing, approval-seeking, on the other hand, places your worth in the hands of others. It makes your self-seeking dependent on how people perceive you in the moment. This cycle is exhausting because no matter how much you do, someone will always find a reason to criticize, judge, or disapprove. Chasing approval is like running on a treadmill. You expend energy but go nowhere. Worse, it often leads people to exploit your need for validation, knowing that you will do almost anything to keep them happy. Instead of respect, what you receive is tolerance at best and manipulation at worst. When you focus on self-respect instead of external validation, you build an inner foundation that cannot easily be shaken. People may disagree with you. They may even dislike some of your choices, but they will learn to acknowledge your strength and integrity. Respect grows out of consistency. When your words, actions, and boundaries align with the value you place on yourself. And while approval may fade quickly, respect has the power to last because it is grounded in authenticity, not in compromise. Many people confuse tolerance with strength, believing that putting up with disrespect is a sign of maturity or patience. In reality, allowing disrespect to continue under the guise of being nice only erodes your sense of dignity. When you choose to stay silent while someone speaks to you in a degrading tone, dismisses your contributions, or takes advantage of your kindness, you send a silent message that such behavior is acceptable. Over time, this acceptance doesn't just embolden others, it weakens your own perception of what you deserve. The cost of tolerating disrespect is often internal. Each time you let it slide, you chip away at your self-worth, teaching yourself that your feelings and boundaries don't matter. Even if you convince yourself that keeping the peace is more important than addressing the problem, deep down you begin to feel smaller, less valuable, and less confident. What may start as one incident of disrespect quickly turns into a pattern that shapes how others treat you and how you treat yourself. Tolerating disrespect doesn't make you noble. It makes you invisible in your own life. Being nice is often used as an excuse for avoiding confrontation, but avoiding confrontation comes with its own heavy price. When you refuse to call out or walk away from disrespect, you are not protecting harmony. You are protecting someone else's comfort at the expense of your own worth. This dynamic teaches others that they can mistreat you without consequence. As a result, they continue their behavior and you continue shrinking, believing that enduring it is somehow the politest thing to do. But politeness should never come at the expense of your dignity. The truth is, the longer you tolerate disrespect, the harder it becomes to stand up for yourself. Each ignored boundary weakens your confidence to set the next one, creating a cycle of silence and self-doubt. What begins as small compromises, like brushing off a rude comment or laughing at an offensive joke, can escalate into a complete lack of boundaries. And when your self-worth is compromised, it impacts every area of your life, from your relationship to your career, to your life, to your life, to your life, to your life. Protecting your worth requires courage to confront, to walk away, and to stop hiding behind the label of nice as an excuse for enduring the unacceptable. Authenticity is the foundation of genuine connection. When you show up as your true self, without masks, pretenses, or rehearsed personalities, you allow others to see who you really are. This honesty creates a sense of trust that no amount of forced charm or artificial likability can ever achieve. People may be temporarily drawn to someone who always agrees, always smiles, and always accommodate, but that attraction fades when they sense sincerity. Authenticity, however, has a lasting impact because it resonates at a deeper level, showing strength, confidence, and integrity. Superficial likability often requires constant performance. It demands that you mold yourself to fit into every room, please every person, and avoid every form of disagreement. While this may win short-term approval, it quickly becomes exhausting and unsustainable. Worse, people begin to see through the act, realizing that your agreeable nature is not a true reflection of your thoughts or feelings. What started as an attempt to be liked can end up making you appear unreliable or untrustworthy. True respect is never built on performance. It is built on realness. Living authentically may not make you universally liked, but it will ensure that you are deeply respected by the right people. Those who value honesty and integrity will gravitate toward you, while those who only wanted a version of you that served their interests may drift away. This process might feel uncomfortable, especially if you've relied on approval for validation, but it is liberating. By being authentic, you filter out relationships built on convenience and replace them with connections rooted in respect and sincerity. When you embrace authenticity, you also strengthen your relationship with yourself. You no longer waste energy pretending to be someone you are not, and you stop questioning whether people like the real you. Instead, you walk with confidence, knowing that those who remain in your life accept you fully. This alignment between your inner values and outer actions creates peace of mind that superficial likability can never provide. Authenticity might not guarantee popularity, but it guarantees freedom, clarity, and the kind of respect that ends. Assertiveness is often misunderstood, especially in environments where people expect women to always be gentle, agreeable, and soft-spoken. The moment a woman raises her voice, speaks directly, or refuses to back down, she is sometimes unfairly labeled as aggressive or difficult. But assertiveness is not about hostility, it is about clarity and confidence. It is the ability to express your needs, feelings, and boundaries without fear or apology, where is sense of true self-respect, fire that comes to its exhibition, fire and instinct. Again, though assistance to great self matter is a level. When you are assertive, you acknowledge that your voice matters just as much as anyone else's. You stop shrinking into silence or waiting for others to give you permission to speak. Instead, you claim your space with dignity and clarity. This doesn't mean shouting or belittling others. It means stating your truth in a way that is strong and respectful. Assertiveness is the language of self-respect, and it tells others, I value myself enough to be heard. People may not always like assertiveness, but they will come to respect it because it communicates strength without cruelty. Aggression, by contrast, seeks to overpower and silence others, while passivity silences you. Both extremes are damaging. Assertiveness, however, creates balance. It allows you to stand firm while still leaving room for mutual respect. By practicing assertiveness, you set a tone in your relationships and workplaces that your boundaries are not negotiable, yet you are still open to dialogue. This balance is crucial because it prevents you from being overlooked without pushing you into the trap of becoming combative. It is not about controlling others, but about controlling how you present yourself. Learning to be assertive also transforms the way you see yourself. Each time you speak up for your needs or defend your boundaries, you reinforce your sense of worth. You realize that valuing yourself is not selfish, it is necessary. Over time, assertiveness builds confidence, helping you to navigate challenges without fear of judgment. Instead of replaying conversations in your head, wishing you had spoken differently, you feel empowered knowing that you honored yourself in the moment. Assertiveness is not about aggression. It is about refusing to disappear in order to make others comfortable. For generations, society has painted a narrow picture of womanhood, one that often prioritizes softness, sacrifice, and servitude. Women have been told that to be good, they must be endlessly nurturing, agreeable, and accommodating, even when it comes at the expense of their own well-being. While kindness and empathy are powerful qualities, they should not be the only defining traits of womanhood. True empowerment begins when women recognize that their identity is not confined to being gentle caretakers, but can also encompass strength, authority, and unapologetic authenticity. Redefining womanhood means allowing space for complexity. A woman can be kind without being a pushover, compassionate without being taken for granted, and strong without being labeled as cold or unfeeling. It means breaking free from the outdated belief that women must always play the role of peacemaker, even when their own needs are ignored. By embracing firmness alongside kindness, women send a clear message that their empathy does not erase their boundary. This balance is not only liberating for women themselves, but also reshapes how others view and respect them. Being unapologetically yourself is at the heart of this redefinition. For too long, women have been taught to apologize for taking up space, for having ambition, or for speaking too directly. Every unnecessary sorry reinforces the idea that their existence must be softened to keep others comfortable. Redefining womanhood requires women to step into their identities boldly, without watering down their voices or minimizing their accomplishment. It is about honoring both vulnerability and power, embracing the full spectrum of what it means to be a woman. When women embody kindness, strength, and authenticity together, they challenge the stereotypes that have confined them for centuries. They demonstrate that womanhood is not about conforming to a single mold, but about embracing individuality with pride. This shift allows women to inspire others by showing that they can be nurturing without losing their authority, firm without losing their authority, firm without losing their humanity. Redefining womanhood in this way creates a new standard where respect is not earned through compliance, but through authenticity and courage. So, stop shrinking yourself to fit the world's expectations. Stop giving away your power just to keep the peace. Stop letting nice be the word that defines you when you are capable of so much more. Choose instead to be real, to be firm, to be courageous, and to be unapologetically yourself. Because the world doesn't need more nice girls who hide in silence. It needs strong women who know their worth, speak their truth, and live with both kindness and power.